Hey everyone, how's it going? This is M.L.S. Weech, and welcome to another edition of Book Cover of the Week, where I look through Amazon, look at the book covers that interest me, and I talk about why they work so well, and maybe maybe how they could be improved here or there. But ultimately, I'm just looking for really cool book covers and trying to explain why they look so great, in my opinion. I'm your humble host, M.L.S. Weech, and if you like this video, please do me a favor, head on down below, click the like, click the share button, click the subscribe button, click the bell. Pretty much if there's a button down there, go ahead and click it. That'd be great. And if you're really feeling generous, head on over to the link on my author page on Amazon, look at my books and see if any of them might interest you. My newest book, Betrayed, is actually directly linked down below as well. So this video is a few weeks behind from the original, from the current voting. So we're going to start by going over the winner for the week 1 book cover of the month. And that winner for the week 1 competition is a book by Michael Anderle and no, it's just Michael Anderle. It's not one of the ones he shared with. It's called Angel of Armageddon. What I really liked about this, first off, was how well all the ships and other elements wrapped around the central figure. It's nice balance. It's not like perfect balance, but it's good balance. All the elements are there and they don't overlap and get in one another's way. And that's a very good job considering how many different things are in this shot. And then you got the really cool Powerball. The light looks good, the way it wraps around the subject. So this was a very successful cover. And I want to offer my congratulations to Michael Anderle. And I also want to say that this will be the first book that gets entered in the June book cover of the month. We'll announce the winner of the May book cover of the month in the next video you see. So now that we've talked about week 1, we can talk about the book covers for week 3, because again, we're a little bit behind. We need time for the votes to get compiled. The first book we're going to talk about, the first cover we're going to talk about, is called Chasing Boston by Rebecca Gray. I like the tone of this book, the color tone. I like that everything's in that deep brown, warm brown range. I'm not the biggest fan of cutting off subjects at the nose. Excuse me. When you take away the eyes, you do a lot to take away from the audience's ability to connect. So when you do that, you have to have other things that are interesting. And for me, it's the color. I'm not really sure what that faded shape is in the back, but the font, the title text is a well-chosen text. It's a pleasing text to read. All the elements surrounding it are interesting. It's not the greatest book cover in the history of book covers, but it's got nice color and nice tone, and the title text works well. The next book cover we're going to talk about is An Unkindness of Magic by Amelia Sides. We're going to bring that guy up here right now. This is a standard portrait cover. I like the sepia tone, and maybe it's just a mood I'm in today, and that happens for a lot of readers, happens for a lot of people, where they just kind of fall in love with a certain style or a certain aesthetic or a certain appeal, and it just kind of sticks with them for the time. Again, this font choice is well chosen. It's well placed. The figure in the foreground is well lit and well rendered. I like the old school coat. I really like the way the birds, whether they're ravens or crows or whatever you might want to call them, how they kind of circle around the subject and keep the eye moving throughout the picture. The castle in the background is interesting. I also want to give a quick notice of the foreground elements. So you got those branches and things. Whenever you have layering, you create depth. So those branches kind of create an illusion of a guy standing under a tree in front of a castle, and that all works together well with this really cool old school sepia tone, and it's just a solid image. Next cover we're going to talk about is called The Seven. It's by B.D. West, and it's from a series called The Winter of Wolves. Again, it's a nice color. That yellow is powerful without being too loud or annoying to look at. The silhouette of the wolf is there. So this is one of those covers that shows you, one, text can absolutely be a powerful visual element. A good cover can be made with just text alone. Here, yeah, they have the wolf there and the crackly background, but really it's all about how the text is put together and how it's layered so that the craculature, if you want to use that term, of the background appears to be affected by the text or the text by the background, whichever way you want to look at it. It's not very difficult. It's not something anyone couldn't do with a layer or two in Photoshop, but it's just simple, easy, quick to read, and easy to understand. And any cover that does that is going to be successful. A lot of the greatest covers all time are successful for that same reason. The next cover we're going to talk about is The Irish Oracle by Nicole Demery. And I just think that this is so lovely. Essentially, it's another portrait. First, you have this character in a star field. I've spoken about this several times on what happens when you overlay text and figure. So you got text that appears in front of the person and text that appears in back of the person, and that creates depth as well. It's well chosen. I think they did a real nice job making sure that the face of the subject was in the gap. We call that leading, the space between rows of text. And so the face appearing there is wise because it has what's called look space. The figure's looking up at the title text, and that has the eye looking from the face to the text, down, back up. And that really keeps the eye on the cover. The star field is gorgeous. The figure is beautifully rendered. I think this is a stupendous cover, and I want to give Nicole Demery a whole lot of props. On that. So the next guy we want to go over is the Bloods Hex by C.S. Stokes. Sorry, it took me a second there to navigate the different screens. So this is a very, very standard portrait text for a sci-fi fantasy series kind of thing. I spoke about this in a previous video, and I'm going to mention it every time I see it. This is a very, very big thing, and if you're writing a paranormal fantasy series, it would not surprise me at all if you took your main character, slapped him on a cover, and put an interesting background on there. The figure's well rendered. I like the backlight. Backlight really is something I'm a huge fan of. When I teach students photography, I have a phrase I use. It's everything is better with the backlight. And it might just be because I have that opinion that this cover stands out, because what backlight does, if you look, is it wraps around a subject. And that really helps them stand out. The background's interesting. The flame is cool. So those are very, very, very good elements in what is a very, very, very overused style. I mean, I can't complain. I did it with my most recent book. It's just something people do, but it allows viewers to connect to the main character. It allows them to get an idea in what's going on. So I can't really complain. But the more original the idea, the more you're going to stand out if you do it right. Now, if you do it wrong, it's going to hurt in a different kind of way. The next book we're going to talk about is Tournaments of Thaw. And the first thing I thought when I saw this was, oh, hey, this is a different version of Hunger Games. So you know, you got a bird, you got a landscape in there, or a cityscape in this case. It's nice color. I like the art style of the bird, and that's what stood out for me. Tournaments of Thaw is by Tamar Sloan and Heidi Catherine. I love this bird. I think the text is well chosen. We've seen a lot of these central figure with some sort of landscape or image within the image. It's a very trendy thing. You see a lot of it these days, but it works in this case, and that art style is something I'm a big fan of. We only got one more to talk about, And the last cover we're going to talk about this week is the Sanguine Scroll, sorry for that, by James E. Wisher. So this cover, and we'll bring it up here in just a moment. This cover is a pretty standard screen. I think what I like about this is it kind of reminds me of a Dungeons and Dragons role-playing guidebook. It really has that feel, and so that just kind of plucks my nostalgia strings a few times. It's a very, because it's reminiscent of a D&D guidebook. It's very dated art, but it's not bad art. It's just obvious that the artist really pulls from that kind of theme. Everything about this cover kind of screams that to me. So for me, this cover, if it was done intentionally, they're marketing to those groups. They're marketing to people who play those kinds of games. I'm not the biggest fan of the tilted background. I do actually understand this. So while I don't really like that the horizon, if you look at the horizon in the background, is all kind of tilted over, I understand they did that because they wanted the figures and they wanted the guy in the background and they wanted those elements to be arranged while still showing the background. So while I'm still not the biggest fan of it, I actually understand why they chose to do it. And so it still kind of works. And I also like how the blade with the lightning around it is helping to light that foremost subject. That really shows a good awareness of design and a good awareness of graphics. So those are the 7 covers for this week. And you can help me out. You can go to the link below, vote on your favorite, and maybe even offer a comment to them, which one you liked and why you liked it so much. Share it with your friends, get the word out, because the more votes that happen, the more these artists and these authors get a chance to spend the time in the limelight. So as always, I thank you so much. God bless.